Hey, what's going on, Guardians? My name is the Black Link, and today is the day Destiny 2 Beyond Light is finally out. And we as Guardians are finally making our way over to the frozen landscapes of Europa to engage with new weapons, new armor, new content, new stories, and a lot of brand new enemies to face. But of course, with the release of an entirely new expansion, there is so much brand new information to cover. So we are going to be busy for the next couple of days pushing out videos, but I figured I'd put out a video featuring some of the biggest initial things with Destiny 2 Beyond Light. In this video, we're going to be going over exotics, some of the brand new exotics that are going to be in the game now. We'll get a sneak peek at what the Deep Stone Crypt raid gear and weapons are going to look like, and we'll even get some word on how exactly you'll be acquiring the legendary Hawkmoon exotic hand cannon from Destiny 1. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive on in and check out all of the brand new exotics we can see in Destiny 2 Beyond Light now. Alright, first up of course is the seasonal exotic, No Time to Explain. You could get this for pre-ordering the deluxe edition of Destiny 2 Beyond Light, and it's one we've seen a lot of before. Of course, this comes with the exotic ability Rewind Again. Precision shots and shots against combatants slowed or frozen by stasis will return to the magazine. That follows up with its exotic trait, Time Slip. At 10 stacks of Rewind Again, a small portal will open, shooting bullets from an alternate timeline version of this weapon. Precision hits will extend the portal's duration. Again, it's very much like the Arc Soul that Warlocks can spawn that will also shoot at enemies, but you can extend the amount of time that it's out there by getting precision hits. Very interesting. Next up, we have the Duality. This new exotic solar damage shotgun comes with the special perk Compression Chamber. Fires a pellet spread in hipfire or a single high damage slug while ADS. So basically, if you hipfire this weapon, it fires like a normal shotgun with pellet spread, but when you aim down sights, that pellet spread turns into a long-range, hard-hitting slug, similar to the projectiles you fire with the Chaperone. This, of course, is followed up with the exotic trait On Black Wings. Pellet final blows grant a stacking precision damage and reload buff, while precision hits with slugs will extend the duration of that buff. This is really interesting. Again, it's very much like the Chaperone, of course, which gets the precision kills and then extends its own accuracy and range and all of that kind of stuff. With this, you get some hipfire kills like a shotgun. It gives you that big precision damage and reload speed buff. So you're incentivized to start ADSing and going for those precision hits. And as long as you're ADSing and hitting your headshots, it's going to extend the duration of that buff. I like this. This is a weapon that's kind of incentivizing you to use it in a specific way with a specific rotation. Good stuff. Alright, next up, we've got the Cloud Strike Exotic Arc Sniper Rifle. This comes with the ability Mortal Polarity. Precision final blows generate a lightning bolt at the target's location. Again, this is another exotic we got to see in some of the Vidoc and exotic trailers we've gotten in previous weeks. It's basically kind of like Thunderlord, where Thunderlord summons down a bolt of lightning when you rain down shots on enemies. Precision shots will rain down a lightning storm. And that's pretty much exactly how its exotic trait reads. Stormbringer. Rapid precision hits create a lightning storm at the point of impact. Now, here's my hope. If these lightning bolts have as much stagger as Thunderlord's lightning bolts do, this thing is going to be a heavy-hitting sniper rifle. Here's hoping. Wouldn't it be great to be able to flinch enemies the way they've been flinching us as snipers for years? Alright, let's move on to the heavy weapons. First up, we've got the new stasis damage exotic grenade launcher, Salvation's Grip. This comes with the ability Cryo Cannon. With your primary fire mode, you can press and hold the fire button to charge and then release to fire the weapon. This weapon's projectiles create stasis crystals and freeze nearby targets. This is followed up with the exotic trait Flash Freeze. Charging this weapon increases the freeze radius and amount of stasis crystals created. So in this sense, it's almost kind of like the Jotun exotic fusion rifle, where you charge it up and then you release to fire and then it'll detonate and create stasis crystals and freeze all nearby opponents. Here's hoping it has less tracking than Jotun does. Alright, next up we've got the exotic sword Lament. This is going to be a solar damage exotic sword, of course, with the special ability Banshee's Wail. This you can activate by using the sword block button. You hold that to rev the blade. This increases damage, allows shield bypass, and adds shield piercing to all attacks. You'll also gain stacks when dealing damage with revved attacks. Additional stacks increase the damage and the damage resistance of heavy attacks. So basically, this thing really is like an exotic chainsaw. You hold the block button to rev it up, get those blades a-spinning, and that gives you buffs that increase damage, give you shield bypass, and allows those benefits to stack as you are dealing damage with revved up attacks. Next up, we've got its exotic trait, Revved Consumption. Damaging a combatant heals the wielder. This sounds really cool. So you rev this thing up, you get all these buffs, you start dealing damage, those buffs start stacking up, and while you're damaging enemies, you can heal yourself with the damage that you're doing. It's almost like taking the Devour build that Voidwalkers have right now and just kind of giving it to everybody in a weapon. Well, we'll have to see exactly how much you heal yourself when you're dealing damage with this. Hopefully it's proportional to the amount of damage you're dealing. But either way, this is a really awesome sounding exotic weapon, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Alright, now moving on from here, there's one last exotic weapon, well really technically two, but one really big exotic weapon that we've gotten at least a little bit of a hint about, and that is the incoming raid exotic. Now, if you don't want spoilers for the raid, remember all the rest of the exotics we're talking about right now can be viewed in collections. The raid exotics are usually kept secret. Tune out from now and come back at the timestamp on the video that you're seeing right now, because we're going to take a little bit of time to talk about the raid exotic. There you go. That's your warning. Let's dive on in. Now, the raid exotic seems to be an exotic rocket launcher titled the Eyes of Tomorrow. And while we don't have any more information on how exactly it's going to work, what its exotic traits and abilities are, this does line up with a pre-Beyond Light release leak that called the raid exotic being a rocket launcher and said it would function as kind of a mixture between the Gjallarhorn and the Wardcliff coil. So it's definitely going to be interesting either way to see exactly how this new raid exotic is going to work. Alright, moving on from there out of spoiler territory, well, into slightly lesser spoil territory. Hawkmoon is the final exotic weapon we've got to talk about today, and we've now been able to confirm, thanks to data miners like Genzer, that Hawkmoon is going to be tied to Season 12's Season of the Hunt. There's going to be an exotic quest to acquire it, just like there was for the Last Word and for Thorn. Finally completing the trio of holy exotic hand cannons from Destiny 1. But alright, moving on from there, that's all of the exotic weapons we've got to talk about in this video. Let's take a quick look at the exotic armor, starting off with the armor we've got coming for you Titans. First up, the Precious Scars exotic helmet. This comes with the perk Kintsugi. After reviving or being revived, you gain an aura that provides overshields to you and nearby enemies, which I'm sure is going to be a lot of fun in Trials of Osiris. Next up, we've got the ICEFALL Mantle Gauntlets. These come with the perk Glacial Guard, replaces your barricade ability with a personal armor reinforcement that absorbs a small amount of damage. While reinforced, you are slowed and barricade does not recharge. So basically, instead of dropping a barricade shield, you kind of give yourself an overshield of icy armor that gets chipped away over time. This is an exotic we got to see a lot of in both the Vidoc and in the exotic trailer that Bungie put out a while back. Alright, next up for hunters. First off, we've got the Mask of BAKRIS. This comes with the perk Light Shift, replaces your stasis subclass dodge ability with a longer range, faster moving shift that partially cloaks you during use. After shifting, your arc weapons deal increased damage for a short period of time. And this one again is no surprise, basically it takes your marksman's dodge and turns it into kind of a blink that'll go in whatever direction you were currently moving. But you're also going to be giving yourself an arc weapon damage buff, which is going to be really interesting in PvE and PvP. Next up, we've got Athris's Embrace. This comes with the ability Skittering Stinger. Weighted knife gains a second bounce, meaning you'll be able to bank it off of more than one surface now for really ridiculous reflection kills. Additionally, rapid precision hits with your weapons grants Weighted Knife a significant damage bonus and the ability to stagger unshielded combatants for a short time. So if you're constantly landing precision hits, you're going to get a big damage bonus to your weighted throwing knife. Not bad at all. Moving on to Warlocks, first off we've got the Dawn Chorus exotic helmet. This comes with the perk Rites of Ember. Your Daybreak projectiles cause targets to burn on contact and deal more damage to them. All your burn effects last longer, and you gain a small amount of melee energy each time one of your burns damages a target. So basically when you're in your super and you're flinging your flaming sword beams at people, enemies that don't get one shot by it get set on fire. These burn effects are going to last longer, and it's going to give you a little bit of melee energy back the longer these targets are burning. I can see this mixing really well with the cheesy melee projectile that Dawnblade has now. Alright, moving on from there, of course, we've got the Necrotic Grip Exotic Warlock Gauntlets. These are the ones I'm really excited about. And they, of course, come with Grasp of the Devourer. Damaging combatants with melee attacks corrupts them with increasing damage over time. Defeating a corrupted combatant spreads the corrupting effects to nearby targets and restores melee energy. Ooh boy, this thing is going to be fantastic. Since it's going to be basically subclass agnostic, you don't need to be on a Void subclass, an Arc subclass, or a Solar subclass. You can use it on any of those things. So any Warlock subclass that has a projectile melee, you can just kind of shoot that melee off into enemies. It poisons them. If they die with that poison, they spread it to nearby enemies and give you back melee energy. This thing sounds amazing, and again, I cannot wait to get my hands on the Necrotic Grip. But alright Guardians, there we go. That's it for all of the big exotic news we've got on day 1 of Destiny 2 Beyond Light. That's what all of the new exotics are going to look like. That's what they're generally going to do, of course, with the exception of Hawkmoon and the exotic raid weapon. This is quite literally just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Destiny 2 Beyond Light. And we will, of course, be continuing our coverage as the week goes on. If anything big pops up, you can expect to see a video covering it right here on the channel. But that is it for this one. I'm going to go actually play the new expansion now, if you don't mind. But if you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest stuff we're putting out. I'm out for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.